Hello, and welcome to Ask an Atheist, a weekly educational program dedicated to atheism, skeptical inquiry, and the separation of church and state. We air live from Scan Studios in Seattle every Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, and are archived online at www.askanatheist.tv. My name is Sam Mulvey, and with me today is Libbie. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Sam?
Oh, pretty good. Are we ready for this?
I think we're ready for this.
Okay.
We're totally ready for this.
Totally ready for
It's
this.
going to be a good episode, and you know why? Because it's the first episode of Season 2.
Season 2.
We made it here. High five.
High five.
We made it
Wow.
for Season 1.
Had I known a year ago that we would be talking about Season 2 of this show right now,
That's pretty
I would have
exciting.
told you to get out of here. And
Get,
here we
get
are.
out of here. Oh, is that another one? That was a fist bump.
Terrorist fist bump or whatever it's called.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
So we have some pretty fun announcements after that, completely out of nowhere. Thank you, Sam.
What? I'm hip in the media or something. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I actually, before we launch into announcements, I personally want to give a shout out to the Gecko Demon who drew some really awesome fan art. I love the internet. Can I just say that?
It is my first piece of fan art ever.
Fan art of him and of Mike.
And of Mike.
No fan art of me. The Gecko
Uh-oh.
Demon. I'm sad. I'm crying a little bit. Do you see the tear? Right there. Just throwing that out there. I was very impressed with it. I thought it was great.
It's been the talk of the show for today, and we are next time me and Mike are on the show. We're definitely going to use it. So
Oh yeah.
Thank you for that.
It was a good one. Yes, thank you. We appreciate all our fans. They're awesome. Anyway, announcements. Very important, serious announcement that we really need to get out here. Scan TV, which is the studio from which we broadcast live every Sunday, is facing some budget cuts as the city of Seattle is preparing their new budget for the upcoming year. And Scan is unfortunately facing some cuts that will really impact how we're able to bring the show to you, our viewers. So
if you're subscribed to the podcast or watch the show on the internet, we actually cut into the beginning of the last episode,
right,
with an announcement. And the short form is that instead of refunding Scan for this year, they're actually cutting it to about 1/6 of Scan's usual funds and then putting it out for bid.
right.
So
that could seriously affect how we're able to bring this program to you. We want to do everything we can to prevent that from happening. So if you are interested in keeping our show going and all the other shows at Scan, which I hope you would be because there's some really fun programs, we hope you go to scantv.org, read up there on how you can possibly help affect the future of Scan and take some action.
Rather than just emailing Scan, there's a list of all of the people on the city council who are involved, who should be contacted about the future of Scan. It's especially helpful if you are a Seattle resident, but even if you're not a Seattle resident, this is good press for Seattle. The fact that this show is being produced here and people pay attention to us gives people the opportunity. It basically, it helps Seattle out to have people know that we're here.
Yes.
Especially since we're talking about what nationwide we consider to be 15% of the population is probably atheist, and in the Pacific Northwest, that's actually the percentage is considered higher. So people in Seattle and people outside of Seattle do need to let the city council know that Scan is paid attention to, people pay attention to this show, and it has a positive effect on the municipality.
And please, if you are, and we hope that you will write some letters to the city board members who are going to be approving the budget. Please keep it professional, keep it positive. We don't, want to hurl any abuses, obviously. Yeah. Not that any of you would ever consider doing that.
No troll.
Of course, of course. And another really fun announcement, speaking of Scan and how much we love it, we have reruns now.
Yeah.
Reruns of Ask an Atheist.
Who knew?
I'm so excited. Every Monday at 6 p.m. on Scan TV, we have reruns. So I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of a show that not only is on TV, but has reruns.
Which means I actually get to sit in my house and watch us do the show.
I know, because I've never gotten to see us do the show.
Yeah,
I'm always here.
I've only gotten to see it when we ran the reruns instead of our normal show, but now I get to watch the show like everybody else is. It's going to be a new experience. I think it's going to improve the show.
Yes, although obviously it kind of goes without saying, but the reruns, you can't call in and talk to us.
Unfortunately.
We're not here. That's the magic of TV.
In that situation, if you catch the rerun, the number to call would be the voicemail line. And we think we have that up, but we'll talk about that a bit later. But if you do have, if you would like to talk to us now, this is a live call-in show. And we had the number up a minute ago. It's 206-421-5658, I believe. Yes. Again, 206-421-5658. If you'd like to talk to us, please call in.
Indeed.
And
that's yours.
Oh, that is mine. Okay. Well, we usually do this. We do want to let people know about the sort of organizations that exist in the Seattle area and the greater Puget Sound area, and even places in Washington or Oregon or whatnot. If you want to talk, if you want us to give a shout out for the announcement or an announcement for your free thought group, give us a call. Or leave us a voicemail, send us an email at askanatheist.tv, and we'll give a shout out to you on the air and let people know what's going on. We often have announcements for Seattle Atheists, for various meetup groups in the area, especially the one out in Kashmir, Washington. We did do one shout out for them, and I said a few months ago or about a month ago, that I would try to make it to one of those meetups, even though it's a bit out there for me. I still plan on it, so. I'm on that meetup and I'm keeping track of it. So.
We'll road trip out there. Anyway, I think it's time to launch into our mystical spate of news articles.
It's a fun one this week.
Before the dawn of time, a race of druids. Nobody knew who they were or what they were doing.
Right to it. This comes to us from the Toronto Sun. This is Druidry, recognized as religion in Britain. Am I saying that right?
I think so.
Okay.
It's kind of a tongue twister.
It is. The ancient neo-pagan religion, best known for Stonehenge, has been recognized as a religion and has been given charitable status in Britain. The decision was made by the Charity Commission for England and Wales on Saturday, after a 4-year-long application process brought forth by the Druid Network. The 21-page final report released by the Commission states that the board members concluded that the Druid Network is established for exclusively charitable purposes for the advancement of religion for the public benefit. Both the Charity Commission and the Druid Network sound like mid-season television replacements. I would watch those shows. The Charity Commission, they travel the world. They airdrop people in to do charity.
They sound like part of the Illuminati to me. Actually, now you can probably hear the laughter in the background. It'd be a good time to mention we do have a live studio audience
we do.
today.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming out, guys.
Hi, guys.
You might hear them from time to time because I don't think we're gonna be able to get through any part of this episode without laughing a little bit. It's gonna be interesting.
But it's nice to if Druidry would be Druidry. I feel like I'm in Spaceballs. If that would be recognized anywhere, I think Britain would be the place it'd be recognized.
That's the place to do it.
And there's a lot of religious
Druidation. Sorry, our floor director just held up a sign that said "Druidation?" ? Yeah,
is that the process of becoming a druid? Druidation?
Druidization?
Druidization. To be druidized. Who knows? But, congratulations for getting the funding in England to you druids out there.
Why not?
I know getting religious status in the UK is a little bit more difficult than it is here because we actually have the anti-establishment clause, and England actually has a vestigial Oregon actual state religion.
Yeah.
So, definitely congratulations are in order.
Yeah, they worked hard for 4 years apparently.
4 years, 21-page final report from the Charity Commission. Anyway.
Plus, like 2,000 years ago or whatever, they built Stonehenge, so good on them.
I guess it's a decision 4,000 years or so.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Okay. I have a news article. This is actually a pretty popular one. A lot of people sent this to us.
Yeah.
So we thank all of you for sending in articles all the time.
If you do have news stories, you can send those in to us, and we will definitely thank you. And we use the news stories. We love doing the news stories.
Oh, yes. They're always fun. So anyway, our news story here, basic religion test stumps many Americans. And I'll just read some excerpts from this article because I find it really interesting. And this particular, there are a lot of articles written about this Pew study that was just concluded, but this particular article is by Laurie Goodstein of the New York Times. So Americans are by all measures a deeply religious people, but they are also deeply ignorant about religion. researchers from the independent Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life phoned more than 3,400 Americans and asked them 32 questions about the Bible, Christianity, and other world religions, famous religious figures, and the constitutional principles governing religion in public life. And on average, people who took the survey answered half of the questions incorrectly, and many flubbed even questions about their own faith. Those who scored the highest were atheists and agnostics, fist bump,
and the explosion.
as well as two religious minorities, Jews and Mormons, which we'll touch on later.
I didn't know that about the Mormons. That's interesting to know.
Sam, there's a lot you don't know about the Mormons.
Oh, there's tons. The stuff I don't know about Mormons could fill a reasonably large bucket.
Or an episode of Ask an Atheist. The results were the same even after the researchers controlled for other factors like age and racial differences. That finding might surprise some, but not David Silverman, president of American Atheists, an advocacy group for non-believers that was founded by Madalyn Murray O'Hair. Silverman says, "I've heard many times that atheists know more about religion than religious people. Atheism is an effect of that knowledge, not a lack of knowledge. I gave a Bible to my daughter. That's how you make atheists." I think that's a great quote.
It worked for a lot of people I know, including myself in many ways.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, well, I'm kind of an agnostic. Then I read the Bible, so I'm definitely an agnostic. There's no question.
So the article goes on to say, researchers said that the questionnaire was designed to represent a breadth of knowledge about religion, but was not intended to be regarded as a list of the most essential facts about the subject. Most of the questions were easy, but a few were difficult enough to discern which respondents were highly knowledgeable. One finding that may grab the attention of policymakers is that most Americans wrongly believe that anything having to do with religion is prohibited in public schools. An overwhelming 89% of respondents asked whether public school teachers are permitted to lead a class in prayer, correctly answered no. But fewer than 1 of 4 knew that a public school teacher is permitted to read from the Bible as an example of literature, and only about 1/3 knew that a public school teacher is permitted to offer a class comparing the world's religions.
That's interesting, since world religions is usually part of any social studies curriculum. Religion
typically
is discussed in schools.
At least touched on briefly.
And this goes back to episode 10 last season, when we discussed the Kitzmiller trial.
Yes.
And everybody, all the people on the side for co-design proponentsists were saying, well, they're banning religion from the schools. You can't talk about religion in schools. And that's not true. It's never been true.
Right.
And that, in fact, contravenes the separation of church and state rules, is we can talk about religion in school. It's that the state cannot sanction religion in schools.
Right. So the article concludes here with a little shout out to clergy members who are concerned that their congregants know little about the essentials of their own faith. They will no doubt be appalled by some of the findings from the studies, such as 53% of Protestants could not identify Martin Luther as the man who started the Protestant Reformation, and 45% of Catholics did not know that their church teaches that the consecrated bread and wine in the Holy Communion are not merely symbols, but actually become the body and blood of Christ. And that is something also that I'll bring into our topic later. But
that's a little hard to take, let's be honest.
It is. It is. And it's something interesting that we'll talk about more as the show develops.
Well, the thing is, on that one is, it's interesting, since that atheists and Mormons and Jews are in minority positions. It makes sense in order for social defense.
Right.
We all sort of have to become armchair religious studies majors in order to actually adequately interface with religious people.
Yeah.
Is that we kind of have to know when they say something that, well, that's not necessarily from what I believe, but when they start talking like this stems from their beliefs.
Right.
And the other thing I've noticed is they said if you want to make an atheist have them read a Bible. Almost every religious studies major I've ever met, or somebody with a degree in religious studies, is agnostic. And it seems like the more you study religions in the theologian social sense, rather than, say, going to a Bible college, the more you realize some of the stranger things about religion and just the wide range of belief, and the less likely you are to be devout.
Yes.
I think that I think there is in this a connection not between atheism and study, but agnosticism and study. That study does bring questions.